Hello, this is Mish, and welcome to this review recap of Twin Peaks Season 3, Episode 6. So this will contain spoilers going forward, so if you've not watched the episode, pause this and come back when you're ready. So for ease of the recap, I won't do a recap in chronological order. I'll just go over the four main story developments that I thought came from this episode. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with Agent Coop, or Dougie, however you want to call him at the moment. So he and his wife. So we see Dougie stuck at work, but he's starting to remember things. So once again, we had the coffee from last week, and we're seeing him remember badges as well. So he is progressing, but just very slowly. So he gets escorted home by security. We see that we find an envelope on his doorstep as well. So his wife gets the envelope, and at that point being alerted to the fact that Dougie hasn't contacted the people he owes money to say, I have your money for you. At that point, she also gets a phone call from these same people. So she organises to meet them and pay them off. Funny scene in that scene though, when she has the picture and says, who is this? And Dougie, being in that really innocent frame of mind, just says Jade. Jade gives 2 rides. I really lost it at that scene. I thought it was really funny. Okay, so moving on, we see the one-armed man in the Black Lodge trying to communicate with Coop again, saying, wake up, wake up. Trying to help him along, because I think he's worried that he's going to actually get taken out or killed because of his mental state at the moment. But we see that him speaking to, the one-armed man speaking to him from the Black Lodge gave him a foresight again. The same thing we saw at the casino. But this time it seems to be helping him detect fraud at the insurance company. So he works through the files his boss gave him. And it looks like he's just scribbling, kind of copying the flares lighting up on the paper. If you saw that, there was little kind of flashes lighting up. It was pretty cool. So we see all these things kind of pointing to one person called Anthony Sinclair. Now he was his so-called friend that we met last episode, who said, "I covered for you." Also the same person that Dougie called out saying he's lying. So has Dougie uncovered a fraud that Anthony Sinclair is doing at this insurance company. So the next day we see that Coop takes the paperwork back to the office, gives it to his boss. His boss immediately says, what's this? Is just childish scribbles, this is pointless. But then we see him scrutinize and really dissect down on if there's any sense in these scribbles. And it turns out there is. And it looks like he's really helped it. A really positive response as well, so that's quite cool. Is Anthony Sinclair running some dodgy fraud scheme within the insurance company? So interesting to see where that one goes. We also see Janie E, so Dougie's wife, meet up with the people wanting money at the park. So we find out more details around what these guys are after. So apparently Dougie took a gamble on a football game and lost. Then he doubled down, lost again. So he owed them 20k, but they just wanted 52k for interest. So Janie E lays the smack down. Once again, an amazing scene. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, just gives them 25k and says, be done with it. Then we have a quick flash of Dougie's car being taken away. Then we move on to the office where we see a contractor sent out to another person. So another hired killer is involved here. But this one's slightly more effective and more brutal. We see he gets an envelope with 2 pictures inside. So one is Dougie. So the other picture is the lady who hired the black car to kill Dougie or steal Dougie's car. So we get that confirmation because she gets a phone call. We see a scene where she gets a phone call saying, how many bodies? 3 bodies? Which matches what happened when Dougie's car exploded. So that's my connection of her with that black car. We then see that hired killer, destroys the whole office, pretty much kills everyone that's moving. But I guess the question is, who hired him? Is that come from possibly the doppelganger Coop? But I'll get more into that at the end. I'll just do a quick recap of my thoughts around where he's come from. Okay, now on to the next main part that I want to bring up would be Rosenfield, so the FBI agent, and he's tracking down Diane. So initially I was like, well, who is Diane? And I couldn't remember. And then it hit me. If you remember from season 1, season 2, Agent Cooper used to constantly leave messages and talk to, well, I guess just a message format. He would record messages and must send them off to Diane. So, tracking and getting all the information from his day, and he would pass it on to her. So she would have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge around what he was doing day to day. So I believe she is being sent to confirm the doppelganger's identity, if it is Coop or not. But pretty quick scene, but pretty cool that we finally see her as well. Okay, now on to the next big part here, which is the drug dealers. So now these are the drug dealers. They seem to come from Washington. If you see the car there, it had Washington plates. So they're giving their drugs to the local drug pusher in Twin Peaks, which is Richard Horn, I believe his name is. So that was a really intense scene, really uncomfortable, I guess anger between them, or just distrust. So it didn't help as well, this crazy coin trick that happened. You know, he did this crazy coin trick, it ended up in his mouth. I don't know what was going on, but it was nuts. But we just see that Richard, after that point, he takes off because he really belittled him a lot. So he takes off, he's all drugged up, and he's in a really aggressive frame of mind. So we see him take off in his truck. Now, whilst this is going on, we also go back to the Fat Trout Trailer Park. So Cowell Returns. Now, if you don't know this guy, he was from the movie Fire Walk With Me. So I don't think he was in either season 1 or season 2. So he was a character from the movie. So we see him still in that park. You know, he wants to escape the park, go for a cigarette and a coffee. So he goes to another park. And we see, you know, him see a mother and her son playing a game. And once again, we're flashing back to Richard driving that truck out of control. I thought the truck was actually going to run over Carl, you know, fly off the road and go through the park or something like that. But unfortunately, it was a dramatic, tragic scene where the kid runs out and the truck hits him. I guess the takeaways from the scene would be, first thing, road safety, check both ways, right? But the thing is, probably seeing Carl, he runs out, and he looks and he sees kind of the yellow blob float away into the sky. And you hear crackling power lines. Don't know if this is going to tie in anywhere else. Or maybe this is just character development for Carl because he's going to help someone in the future. Or if this is going to have any meaning for the storyline anywhere else. But, you know, just that kind of reference to something going on here around the Black Lodge and around, you know, life after death. So it was an interesting scene. A pretty moving one as well. And I guess the final thing the final section is probably Hawk drops the coin in the men's toilet, finds the coin, then he sees a logo referencing to his heritage, which is what the log lady said, if you remember. So that's what he's been trying to find, something is lost. Then he looks at the door is loose, so he kind of pries it apart and finds a letter inside. So what's on the letter we don't know. Hopefully we'll find out next episode, but maybe that's what's been missing. Maybe someone stuffed the letter down there. Or also, if you remember from previous seasons, the one-armed man went into those toilets and had a mental breakdown or an episode before he could take his medication. So maybe he wrote some notes and put them in there. I don't know. That's just a little theory. We also see a bit more character development around the sheriff and his wife, and obviously Chad as well, because of his you know, dismissal of their issues, which was, he just seems like a real douchebag. But anyway, I guess the main points that I still think this is all tying up with Dougie and how Dougie's history is joining all these stories together. So his debt is repaid to one bunch of people, but does he owe other people money? And what's going on? Because it seems to be we have the gambling people he was dealing with. Then we have the lady that's just been killed. Now we have the hired killer, the brutal killer that's after him. So we've got 3 different people after him. Where have they come from? I wonder if this new killer that's been hired, the one that got the envelope from the office, you know, the man in the office got the message on the computer, he then sent the envelope. Is that all coming from the doppelganger? So when the doppelganger made the phone call to what looked like that machine, has that machine then automated something to this guy to say, kill these people? That's at the moment, that's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think about that? Have you got a theory around who is this new hired killer after them, and who has hired the killer? But either way, I like this episode. I don't think it was as good as previous episodes. This one was a lot slower, but still it had some some movement in there, some character development, but it was definitely in the slower. I didn't like it as much as the other ones, but still I thought it was pretty good. It was a good watch anyway. But yeah, leave me some feedback below as usual. Thumbs up if you like this video. And once again, I want to do a theories video about some of these characters, but it's just so hard because every episode that comes along, the next one, it really puts my theories on its head. It's really hard to pick anything out that's reliable, but I'll give it a go as soon as I can. But for now, for this video, I'll just leave this here. So once again, leave your comments and feedback below would be awesome. Thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe for future content from me. And until next time, this is Mish, and I'll see you later.